The Supreme Court tomorrow is going to hear arguments about your executive order trying to get rid of birthright citizenship.
And I'm going.
You're going to go to the Supreme Court
I think
tomorrow?
so. I do believe.
And just sit there and listen.
Because I have listened to this argument for so long, and this is not about Chinese billionaires or billionaires from other countries who all of a sudden have 75 children or 59 children in one case or 10 children becoming American citizens. This was about slaves. And if you take a look, slaves, we're talking about slaves from the Civil War. And if you take a look at when it was filed, all of this legislation, all of this, everything having to do with birthright citizenship, it was at the end of the Civil War. The reason was it had to do with the babies of slaves and the protection of the babies of slaves. It didn't have to do with the protection of multi-millionaires and billionaires wanting to have their children get an American citizenship. It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's been so badly handled by legal people over the years. If you look at the original birthright citizenship papers, they all happened right after the Civil War. The reason was it had to do with the babies of slaves. And hopefully it's going to say, because our country is being scammed. We're getting all of these people. They're selling the rights to them. People are making a big living, getting hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars from bringing people in and saying, congratulations, your whole family is going to be a citizen of the United States of America. That's not what it was for. It wasn't for billionaires bringing people in or family in. It was for the children of slaves. And what you really have to do, and I don't think the lawyers talk about it as much, look at when the Civil War ended and look at the date of when this was enacted. Okay.
Have you ever been to the Supreme Court before? Is this going to be the first time going to the Supreme Court?
No, I went once before, the opening of the Supreme Court in the last administration.
And which justices will you be listening for most closely?
I love a few of them. I don't like some others. And you know, you say what you want, but you have the ones that were appointed by Barack Hussein Obama and Biden. I don't care how good your case is. You can have the greatest case ever. They're going to rule against you. They always do. And it's not supposed to be that way. Now, the Republicans tend to be very different. They want to show how honorable they are. So a man can appoint them and they can rule against him. It's so proud of it. We're so proud we ruled against Trump. We're so proud. We're above it.
What you just watched is the President of the United States, hours before walking into the Supreme Court for the first time in modern presidential history, telling the country exactly how he views the judiciary. Not as an independent branch of government, as a loyalty system. Justices who rule for him are wise and patriotic. Justices who rule against him are stupid, disloyal, and an embarrassment to their families. Those are not my words. Those are his. 5 weeks ago, when the Supreme Court struck down his tariffs in a 6-3 ruling, Trump called Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, two people he personally nominated, a disgrace to our nation. He said they sicken me. He accused the majority of being swayed by foreign interests. He told the country he was absolutely ashamed of them. Now look at the constitutional argument he just made. He told reporters birthright citizenship was only ever about the babies of slaves. He said to look at the dates, the exact end of the Civil War. What he did not mention is that the 14th Amendment says all persons born in the United States, all persons, not children of slaves. And in 1898, the Supreme Court ruled in Wong Kim Ark that birthright citizenship extends to the children of immigrants. That has been settled law for 128 years. Every single lower court that reviewed Trump's executive order ruled it unconstitutional. Here is the part that should stop you cold. Trump's own Solicitor General, D. John Sauer, told the justices today that the administration is not asking them to overturn Wong Kim Ark. The president is publicly making a more extreme argument than his own lawyer is willing to make inside the courtroom. Trump is performing for the cameras. Sauer is performing for the law. They are not making the same case.
There are those that say that's wonderful, and there are those that say they're so stupid. But the Democrats never fail at one thing. When Barack Hussein Obama or when Biden appoints somebody, they go along that line. You can have the greatest case in history. And almost, I guess I have to say almost, maybe I don't have to say it, almost without fail, those people, 4 of them, sometimes 5 of them, but 4 of them will vote against you. You don't have a chance. You don't have a chance. And that's not what the court system is. Now, the Republican appointees tend to go, and this has been long before me, this has been for many years. Some people would call it stupidity, some people would call it disloyalty, some people would say they're right in doing it. And I don't mind being right, but the other side almost never does it. Almost. I think you could find maybe a couple of instances, almost never does. When a Democrat appoints a judge, and I'm talking about judges, not just justices, you go before some of these Democrat judges in Washington, D.C., and you don't have a chance. That's why I gave pardons to hundreds of people that were so badly treated, having to do with J6. Yeah.
He connected it all: birthright citizenship, biased judges, and January 6th pardons. In Trump's framework, these are not separate issues. They are one issue. The courts are broken, the judges are against him, and he is the only one with the power and the will to override them. This is the pattern. When Trump won his tariff case at the appellate level last year, the courts worked. When the Supreme Court struck down those same tariffs in February, the justices became a disgrace. When judges block his birthright order, they are dumb. When he pardons J6 defendants, it is because Democrat judges gave them no chance. The judiciary is legitimate when it agrees with Donald Trump. It is corrupt when it does not. And today he walked into the Supreme Court, the first sitting president to attend oral arguments. He sat in that room, feet away from the justices he has called disloyal, stupid, an embarrassment to their families, and sickening. And he watched them consider whether to uphold or strike down his executive order. The question this case will answer by July is whether a president can override the 14th Amendment with an executive order. But the question this clip already answered is different. Donald Trump does not view the Supreme Court as a co-equal branch of government. He views it as a scoreboard, and when the score goes against him, the referees are the problem. If this breakdown cut through the noise for you, subscribe and hit the bell. Drop your take in the comments. Do you think the court rules for or against Trump on this one? Share this video. This story is not going away.